What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. Some battles are fought in silence, deep in the shadows, far away from the front lines, and yet their shockwaves hit harder than any artillery barrage. In Ukraine's war against Russia, there are battles you can hear for miles, and then there are the surgical strikes and intelligence coups that detonate inside the Kremlin's mind. And so recently, Ukraine has been landing those mind bombs with unnerving regularity. The result? Russian troops humiliated mid-selfie, elite air defense units blown apart on their own soil, and the Kremlin's shiniest nuclear missile submarine stripped naked for the world to see. And here's the kicker. These are not isolated wins. They are a part of a deliberate pattern designed not just to bleed Russia's military, but to shatter its sense of invincibility. Putin has always sold Russian military as the untouchable giant, the fortress that laughs at the slings and arrows of its enemies. But over the past few weeks, Ukraine has been showing that even giants can trip over their own shoelaces, face planted to the dirt, and leave their gold-plated teeth scattered for everyone to see. From careless soldiers smiling for the camera to strategic assets left defenseless, we are seeing the Russian war machine in all of its dysfunctional glory. And every time Ukraine pulls off another operation, it's not just hardware or personnel that just gets destroyed. No, it's Putin's mythology. Let's get straight into the video, guys. It was supposed to be a quick victory lap. In the contested village of Zelenyy High, just a stone's throw from the Dnipropetrovsk border, a group of Russian occupiers thought that they would just pull off a minor coup. They had pushed forward, grabbed a position, and in their minds secured bragging rights. So, what's the next step in the 2025 Russian military manual? Dig in, fortify, secure supply lines probably? No, not so much. Apparently it's whip out your phone and take a glamorous shot for your commander. Because nothing says professional army quite like stopping in the middle of a war zone to stage an Instagram photoshoot. However, they never made it to the post-production. The very ground they were standing on was inside the operational zone of Ukraine's Timur Special Forces, specifically the Brotherhood unit of the GUR. This was not just an enemy patrol, it was a precision-trained outfit whose job description might as well read "erase confident or even overconfident occupiers before they can even exhale." The Russian squad did not even have time to figure out they have been spotted before the trap closed on them. Within minutes, not days even, minutes, the new position reverted back to the neutralized kill zone. Which is, all this is just a very basic example how can an immeasurable stupidity lead to one's annihilation before they even know it. I mean, each photo has a geotag attached to it. The surrounding area was not even censored in this photo, nothing. If those soldiers did not know about the basic safety measures before the war started, well, they should have learned it after 3 years of active combat. Every minor detail can reveal your location and become your doom, let alone the entire photo. Well, but some people never learn, I guess. On the surface it is easy to laugh at the absurdity, men dying because they wanted to document their war tourism, but the deeper issue is discipline, or better say complete lack of it. These were not raw conscripts straight from the bus stop. They were supposed to be combatants operating in contested territory. And yet, their tactical awareness was so non-existent, they might as well just have put a GPS pin on Instagram captioning and say caption something like, "Come kill us right here, this is our coordinates." For Ukraine, on the other hand, the value of an incident like this goes beyond the body count. It is psychological warfare. The Kremlin pushes propaganda of disciplined, ruthless professionals holding the line against NATO-backed hordes. And reality, well, units so fixated on optics that they hand their own coordinates to the enemy, quite literally. And they never seem to learn from their mistakes either. Every time a story like this leaks, it chips away at the manufactured image of Russian military competence, both abroad and more dangerously for Putin, back home. This was not the only circus-worthy stupidity of the Z army that led to destructive consequences. Something else, even bigger, happened recently as well. Let's talk about it in our next chapter. If Zelený High was a case study in individual stupidity, Afipsky was a showcase of systemic vulnerability. The 90th Anti-Aircraft Missile Brigade is not just another cog in the Russian war machine, no. It is a critical component of the country's protective shell of its own territory. These are the people tasked with intercepting Ukrainian drones, missiles and aircrafts over occupied Kherson and Zaporozhye as well. Their radar eyes are supposed to sweep the skies for threats long before they arrive. But on August 8th, those eyes might as well have just been shut. In the early morning, Defense Intelligence of Ukraine operatives struck the unit's base in Krasnodarsky Krai, once again on the territory of Russia itself. The attack was surgical. 2 explosions near the checkpoint, maximum impact on personnel and hardware, and at least a dozen Russian servicemen were eliminated instantly, dozens more injured, and valuable equipment was destroyed or damaged beyond repair. In the chaos that followed, Russian emergency services swarmed the site, and guess what? Not to restore operational capacity as soon as possible, but to seal it off from the public view. No secrets, no truth should ever escape. That's when the Coverup machine went into overdrive. Russian state media rushed out a story blaming the blast on a faulty gas cylinder equipment, that's right. This excuse has been used so often it's practically a meme in Ukraine and will even in Russia at this point. Because every other explosion on Russian soil is apparently due to mysterious gas containers that explode by themselves with military-grade precision right next to the most important objects. Yeah. At first the excuse used to be smoking in inappropriate places, if you remember it, especially with this ship Moskva, the one of the first ones to be sunk. And now it is once again the spontaneous gas containers self-ignition. Different wording, same idea. Ukrainians attacked us and we missed it. We got humiliated and we don't want to acknowledge it. Meanwhile, the FSB was reportedly busy purging references to the incident from social media, as if deleting the posts or Instagram pictures of regular locals would somehow mysteriously erase the reality itself. For Ukraine, the Afipsky hit was a double victory as well. Tactically, it degraded Russia's air defense network in a region that is supposed to be safe staging ground. Strategically, it demonstrated that no part of Russia's military infrastructure is beyond reach. This was not occupied territory. Once again, it was deep inside the Russian Federation. If your elite air defense troops cannot protect themselves in their own barracks, how can they possibly protect the skies above the front lines? That question is not just being asked in Kiev. It is echoing inside Russian ranks and most certainly inside the Kremlin walls as well. But wait, there is more. Top secret Russian submarine plans and blueprints were recently leaked online, and Ukraine took advantage of it and found its vulnerabilities and weak points. Let's talk about it in more details in our next chapter. Then came the real masterpiece. The kind of operation that military historians will be dissecting decades from now. On July 24th, Putin personally attended the flag-raising ceremony for the K-555 Knyaz Pozharsky, the newest Borei A-class nuclear missile submarine. This was not just another warship, it was the jewel of Russia's strategic deterrent force, capable of carrying 16 RSM-56 Bulava missiles, each armed with up to 10 nuclear warheads. It was supposed to symbolize unquestionable Russian power, but then, less than 2 weeks later, Ukraine's Hur tore that illusion to pieces. They did not sink the submarine, they did not need to do it. They did something far more damaging. They stole its secrets, down to the very last valve, hatch and crew members' waistline. The leaked documents included full crew rosters with names, ranks, medical data and fitness scores. Detailed schematics showed the internal layout, including combatant systems, survivability mechanisms, and exact locations of critical components. Operational manuals laid out standard procedures for every alert status, from routine patrols to full combat engagement. I also, by the way, uploaded several pages translated into English to my Patreon, so guys, if you want to see them for yourself, the link is down below. But anyways, this was not just regular stealing super secret documents James Bond style, no. It was a playbook for dismantling Russia's price deterrent. With this level of detail, any adversary could theoretically identify weak points to exploit in a crisis, or sabotage systems in port, or design decoys to bypass the submarine's defenses. For nuclear power, such vulnerabilities are supposed to be locked tighter than the state's gold reserves. Ukraine did not just pick the lock, they ripped the safe door off and dumped the contents online for everyone to see. Almost like Fast and Furious movie when they dragged a massive safe cube along the city road, destroying everything in its way, and well, then the rest is history. The humiliation factor alone is enormous. Moscow has to either admit the breach, which would confirm their incompetence, or deny it, which leaves NATO and Ukraine free to act as if every word is true. Meanwhile, the global perception shifts. Russia's most secure assets are not secure at all, apparently. And perhaps most damning, this breach was not pulled off by the CIA, MI6 or some elite Western cyber force, no. It was executed by the intelligence service of the very country the Kremlin itself mocks as navy-less. Just how tables turned, right? Individually, these operations are tactical wins. Collectively, they form a campaign of credibility erosion. Ukraine's strikes and leaks are doing something traditional warfare struggles to achieve, which is that they are rewriting the enemy's self-image. A military that sees itself as invincible is far more dangerous than one that doubts its own strength. Ukraine's job is to plant those doubts and seeds of doubt in their minds, and then water them with every operation. The Zelyony High incident told Russian soldiers that their own arrogance can kill them faster than enemy fire. Afipsky told the Russian public that their defenses are a facade, vulnerable even in peacetime conditions on home soil. And then the Knyaz Pozharsky submarine breach told the world that Russia's nuclear arsenal, the core of its geopolitical swagger, is not as untouchable as advertised. These are not just morale hits, they are operational game changers. A soldier who doubts his leadership fights less aggressively. A commander who suspects his base could be the next Afipsky allocates more resources to defense rather than offense. And a navy that knows its crown jewel has been mapped to the last bolt will change tactics in ways that slows deployments and breeds hesitation. In psychological terms, Ukraine is making Russia fight on three front lines: the physical battlefield itself, the propaganda arena, and then the personal war inside every Russian serviceman's head. It is an elegant, almost surgical approach, death by 1,000 cuts if you wanna call it this way, each one time to bleed maximum confidence from the Kremlin's war machine. Russia's armor is not just dented, it is cracked wide open, and every new operation separates it even further apart. In the end, the Kremlin's greatest defeat may not come from losing territory, but from losing the story it has told for decades, that Russia is a fortress no one can breach. Ukraine has proven that not only can it be breached, it can be stripped bare, photographed, and laughed at before the wreckage even cools. The lack of discipline and morale among the highest ranks, especially among the highest ranks, is showing. And it was just a matter of time until the dire consequences show up, which they do now. Well, there you have it, guys. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Once again, if you want to see those leaked submarine documents, they are on my Patreon. The link is down below. Thanks so much for watching. See you tomorrow.
We won't succumb to their tricks, the facade they try to sell. Their twisted words and feeble claims are resolved they cannot quell. We see through their lies, their feeble attempts to sway. We do not believe in ridiculous Russian propaganda.